Hello friends and welcome back to Pro Coding with Rahul. Today we are going to learn about functions. Python functions are the reusable pieces of software code that you can use into your programs any number of times as you like. Those same functions are called methods in Java, but Python functions are a little bit different. So let's see how functions work in Python. Hello and welcome back to Pro Coding with Rahul, and today we are going to look at the functions in Python. But before we do that, you can see that I have a new editor with me that is called Visual Code Studio. It's a free editor which could be downloaded online, and it's a small download, like it's just 60 megabits. So you can download it and use it. I am just starting to use this editor and I find that it is quite good. I'm not sure whether I'm going to continue using it because I like Eclipse more than Visual Studio Code. But let me just dive into this editor. For now, it's looking very good. So by default, installed a few plugins with it. I think it requires Microsoft .NET Framework 3.5 and above to run on Windows 7. So you might need to just install this utilities along with it. So if you don't want to use it, we already have this plain old Python shell wherein we can create a new file and we can start coding in idle. But going forward and using creating some big new projects, we will require a nice code editor. So that's why I have installed Visual Studio Code. So coming back, let's dive into the functions that we have. Here I have added one function. The syntax for function is like def, and then you just name the function subtract. Say for example I want to do some subtraction, and then I specify a few variables, or yeah, arguments you can call them, x comma y, and then we provide a colon here, and then we write the statements for the function. Statement 1, okay, it's triggering this. Statement 2, and so on. It's triggering the auto code completion, which is a good thing. It helps us to automatically add the code and complete the sentences that we are writing for our code. Very good. And as you can see, we have a return statement over here. This return statement which returns from the function. It is used to get out of the function. It's used to get out of the function and break the function. So if you have say for example def subtract function, the subtract function here, then if you want to get out of the function, you can simply type return and it will get out of the function. Okay, so let's see how what this function above does. For example, I'll just remove this example function here. So we are going to look into the def add function. The add function will add two variables a and b, which would be provided by us while running the program, and it will return what it will return is print the sum of a and b. That's what we want here, right? So for example, if we want to run this particular function, we just have to do add and open into the curly braces and provide the value of those two variables. Say for example a and b. Here I have written 12 and 38. You could provide 22 and 38 so that we just get a round figure and we just run it here. So in this IDE, I will go here and say control plus F5 or run without debugging, because I don't want to debug it. And it's running the program. So it launched the Python launcher and it says that sum equals to 60. That is what we have printed the output here. So it means that this is the first function we have written and it is printing a proper output. Okay, so now let's look into another function. I will just create another new file here. Oh, and one more thing, before you start using Visual Studio Code, you will have to install a Python extension that comes in with Visual Studio. So once that is installed, all the syntax highlighting and the code completion and other stuff would start working for you. So as you can see, I have created another new file, but it does not show me any extensions over here. But if you want the syntax to be highlighted, the indentions to be given automatically, you will have to first rename it into a new file with the .py extension for Python. So what I will do is I'll save this file as, say for example, function2.py. So instead of plain text, let us select Python over here, and this is Python. I'll save it in Python. Now let's copy the earlier function that we have written so that it eases us our work process. So instead of adding, I'll say we want to subtract x minus y instead of a and b. So here I can say subtraction is equal to, and what subtraction is supposed to do. Here we have the two different variables, so x minus y. So instead of add, we will here then say subtract, and here I'll take a value greater than y, say 45 minus 38, what we would like to have. Okay, so we'll run it with control and F5, is that right? Yes, it's control and F5. So here it ran the program and it says the subtraction is 7. Perfect, right? Now what if we have multiple variables in this function? These functions which we are using are called as parameterized functions. Basically, function is a collection of statements, and it we collect and we write those kind of statements here for which we want some kind of a value to be returned to us in the main program. So there could be n number of functions in our small program, or maybe there are multiple functions with their local variables, their own global variables defined, and they are used for certain kind of processing of the data. Okay, so functions are nothing but the reusable pieces of program, and in Java we call them as methods, and we can specify any number of functions in the program. We can call the code. Now the function that you have written is being called using the subtract uh, caller, right? So we use this particular statement to call the function and pass the arguments to it, correct? I'm sure you are understanding these things. It's pretty simple. The two values here, 45 and 38, are called arguments. Okay, there is something called as parameterized arguments or keyword arguments as well in Python. What are these? When there is a function which has multiple variables specified in it, then we can use, if we are not initializing all the variables, then we can use the keyword arguments to specify which particular argument you are calling, right? So we are trying to multiply here x, y and z values. Let's change the function name to multiply function, and then we say here also multiply function. Now here you can see that I have specified y equals to 5, x equals to 3, z equals to 10. This is nothing but keyword arguments that I have specified at different points in the program. Okay, now let's try to run this program and see what happens. Here first let's save it. We'll run without debugging. The multiplication is 150, so it worked properly, right? Let's say we want some more input from the program. We'll say print, then I'll say x is equal to comma x, and I'll also print the value of y and z here so that we are pretty clear about which values are being taken where. Okay, so I'll copy and paste it here, y, and then we are going to use z. and here we go with y and z. And if we say that y is 15, x is 3, z equals to 100, and we'll save it, we'll run the program. Let us see what it does. So now it has printed the value like x equals to 3, y is 15, and z is 100. Their multiplication is 4500, correct? So as you can see, it has taken those keyword arguments properly for whatever position we have specified for the functions. So it doesn't matter whether x is here, as long as you specify x value here, then it will take the x value. If you did not specify this, for example, if you just specified 15 and 3 and 100, then if you run it, then we will just get the default values of x, y and z the way they are written. See, now here you can see the first value of the function that you have passed. 15 is for x, y is 3 and z is 100, right? And finally we are going to look at the doc strings, this inbuilt Python function. Now doc strings are the strings that are basically on the first line of your function, and when you fetch this attribute, they just pull the help that is written for that particular function. So for that, let's create a new file, and here I'll create another function, say for example def print doc strings. So I'm not specifying any kind of arguments over here. Let's first save it as a .py file. Here we go, and we save it as a py file 3. Right, now it will start indenting the code. So for doc strings addition, we need to use these 3 commas, like these are doc strings for the function print underscore doc strings, and then you again close it with the 3 inverted commas. Then you start coding whatever you want to code here. So what we'll do is we'll add 2 parameters over here, say for example message and times. Okay, let's go ahead with this. We'll return the code like this: print message to be or not to be here into times, right? We'll add return true here, and let's see what it does with this. So the message would be hello, and how many times you want this message to be printed is 4 times. Let's see whether it works. We'll first save it, then run and go to debug. Okay, so it's printed this message in 5 times: message to be or not to be, message to be or not to be. Okay, that's right. So why did it print message and not the one that I have specified over here? Because I have already specified the value of message in the print statement itself. Let's change this to msg, and let's see what happens. So here we run the code again, So it's printing this thing into 4 times: hello, 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 hello. So that's how we wanted this, right? So this is how doc strings work. So to print the doc strings, we have to use the print command and open the brackets. Print doc string dot, not this way, we will have to use dot underscore. These are double underscores and doc. This is used to fetch the underscore underscore doc attribute. So whatever is defined in the first line of your function here, that will be shown to you in the console. So I'll save the program and we'll try to run it. So you see, we have introduced one more escape sequence over here called /n, and then we have written hello. So what it does is it prints each hello into the new line that is specified over here. And these are the doc strings from the function print underscore doc string is being printed here because it is in the first line of the function. We can pass more variable messages which provide us in-depth detail about what a particular function does. So it is always recommended or highly recommended that in your programming Python you implement doc strings in each of the functions, so that going ahead, if there are any other people who are coding into the same file, they understand the function and they can pull up the doc strings and get the details about the function that is being worked upon. So I hope you understood about doc strings and functions in general with Python today. So I'm going to stop here for now. See you with another episode of Python. Thank you. Keep watching, like, share and subscribe.